Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of Triple Rider. However, today we're not riding, but we're driving the desk today because it's quite rainy, and it's going to be rainy for the next couple of days. So not much riding going on, but we're going to need some editing done. Plus, I want to make this short video for you to talk about my helmet setup. A couple other motovloggers do the same kind of thing, so I just thought I'd run through my setup and show you how I've got everything set up in detail, going through the helmet itself and the products I'm using and how I've got it configured in the helmet. I think for these kind of videos, I think the most important thing is the audio. Video is pretty easy to come by because the camera does most of the work. It's pretty much point and shoot for the most part, because you can do all the other changes and upgrades and whatnot in the post-production. But audio is probably one of the hardest ones to get right because you really only get one shot with that. Otherwise, you have to kind of go back and redo it again. I had some pretty bad experiences when I first started doing this. I had really muffled audio or too much wind or I was too loud. I went through a number of changes before I settled on this particular setup. So this is a culmination of probably 3 years worth of trying, and this particular setup I've been using for almost 2 years, I think. And I have two helmets. This is the newest helmet, which I got in 2018. I picked this helmet because it pretty much matches the color scheme on the Street Triple RS. It's a Shoei GT Air. And the other one is also a GT Air. It's a different color design, but the same general function. The only changes I've made to the helmet itself, I've just changed the clear visor to a smoke visor that helps with the sunlight during daytime riding, but it's also reasonable to use at nighttime. Some of the more reflective and darker visors make it really hard to see at night. So I wanted something that was kind of universal, but I still want to have something dark during the day, but still light enough to use at nighttime. If I do a lot of mountain riding at night, or if I go out in the countryside, I'll switch to the clear visor just to have that extra visibility. But riding inside Tokyo and in general areas, around the suburban areas, you don't really, you got enough light, so it's not such a big deal. But being up in the mountains where there's no light and you have risk of animals and things like that, having the extra the extra visibility through the clear visor, that helps out a whole lot. So we'll get started. Let's see here. What else can I tell you? I guess there's not much to say. The helmet, if you're familiar with the GT Air, that's kind of the features of this helmet is it does have the pen lock, which is the kind of the anti-fog, and then it also has the built-in visor here, which you can push down. That also gives some help when you don't have sunglasses. I tend to wear sunglasses during the day. I also have a pair of protective, like clear glasses that I don't wear glasses normally for like reading or anything like that. I just use sunglasses and the protective goggles. I have a pair of clear ones, and I have my regular Oakleys that I wear when I'm riding. But I don't usually use the built-in visor all that much, unless I happen to forget my sunglasses. The GT Air also has the quick release latch. It doesn't have the standard tie-up one, which I kind of like. This is definitely more quicker to get on and off when you need to. It's preset to my size. Yeah, and that's pretty much it, or pretty much about it. So for communications, I think pretty much everyone's familiar with the Bluetooth options we have nowadays. This particular helmet is outfitted with the Sena 30K. It has the standard mounting, which also works on the 20S, so they're interchangeable. You can also replace this if it goes bad, also replace the speakers. I swap between the 20 and the 20S and the 30K depending on, well, if one's charged and one not. I keep both of them charged, but if I'm going on a trip, I'll take both of them with me so I can alternate and charge one and use one and then cycle them out. But the 30K and the 20S Plus, they have pretty good battery life, so I haven't really had much of an issue using it. The only complaint that I have about the 30K and the 20S for that matter is the voice command, because it tends to be a little too sensitive sometimes. If you notice, sometimes in my videos I have to tell the Sena to shut up because I'm not talking to it, but it thinks I am. So anyway, the Sena also has the built-in microphone here inside the helmet. I don't know if you can see that very well, but we use this for the telephone, making phone calls, voice commands, and the intercom, of course, when you're riding with other people or you have a passenger. The second helmet has is set up for vlogging or motovlogging, but I mainly use that for passengers now. But I can use the 20S and 30K so we can talk back and forth. That's it for communications. For the GoPro mount itself, this is nothing particularly special. I'm using just some standard brackets with some just the regular, like I think these M5s. These screws here, they're not. I don't use the thumb screws like you see on a lot of other mounts, but this I have these tightened down so nice and tight so they don't move. I want the camera to stay exactly where it is all the time. So I have these tightened down from here onwards, and then I have this extra, like it's got these thumb type fins that make it easier to tighten and loosen the camera when I want to change the camera or change the battery or take it off the helmet when I'm parked somewhere. The GoPro case itself is, let me see here, this is easier to do it this way. So it's got the microphone here. This is the microphone adapter, and then I can just unscrew here, tilt it down. The back cage comes off, and the camera comes out just like this, and I can change the battery or change the micro SD card. When I'm out and about doing things, normally I just change the battery. I don't usually take it off that much, but I like this case because it's easy to get the camera in and then put it right back in here, lock it in place, swing it back up, tighten it down, microphone in, and we're good to go. This particular case also has a removable lens. So normally for this function, I would normally unscrew this lens and put like an ND filter, so I can take different types of videos in different situations. On a regular average day, I just use the UV filters that's the standard, this works for most of the content, but some of the other content I record out in the countryside or on the highway, especially on bright days, I'll use the ND filters for that. The other benefit for this is the fact it protects the lens of the GoPro, so if this gets damaged, I can just replace it. It's pretty nice. And when I'm not recording, I always keep the lens cap on to protect the lens. Now the other, I've had other cases, let's see. That way for a moment. This is a newer type of case that works with both the Hero 7 and the Hero 8, as I understand it. Actually, I haven't really tried it yet, but the one thing that was the problem was the weight. So it has the spot to put the mic adapter here in the bottom instead of mounting it on the helmet, but I found that the weight probably makes the camera move a little bit too much. So I'm kind of playing with it. I haven't decided what to do with this yet, but this is kind of neat the way they have this set up so that it works with the Hero 8. As you can see, with the Hero 8, it has the USB on the right side versus the Hero 7. They have it. So this is the power button on this side. On the opposite side is the port for the mic adapter, which is like on this camera. This is my half-broken Hero 7, the one that doesn't recognize the audio adapter. So anyway, for right now, this Hero 8 is set up as a secondary camera for most of my recording until I adjust the helmet to take the new type microphone. But for right now, the quality and the difference between the Hero 7 and Hero 8 isn't a big deal, so I don't really worry about changing it out right now. The other, if you notice, both of these still have the same type of lens adapters, so I really like this feature of these types of cases. They protect the camera and they protect the lens, and you can also use the ND filters that are interchangeable. These are all 52 millimeter adapters, so pretty standard. This one I stopped using because I just didn't like this screw here that puts pressure on the camera on the inside. I found that these two But this one in particular, the one I'm using now, it has the pads in there to hold the camera in place, so it's not such a big deal. But I have this as a backup if I need to. This is a backup mount that I made. This is basically set up exactly the same as one on this helmet, but it also works on the other GT Air as well because it's the exact same configuration. And all I have to do is just adjust it a little bit depending on how I want to use it. But this is mainly for the second helmet, or if this one fails or something happens, then I have a backup already pre-made to go in there. Okay, so yeah, so I have this one set up, but I don't know yet. Now for the, whoops, oh, I didn't drop it, just sat down. Okay. So for the microphone, which is the key part of making the Motovlog as far as audio recording now, you can use an external audio adapter or external audio recorder. I do have an H2N for that, but I use that more for off-bike recording than I do anything else. But I have it as a backup just in case I need it for audio. The mic adapter on this helmet is mounted here. I have a 3M double-sided tape that's locked on the other side, and then this is some Gaffers tape that's on the outside. I'm going to redo this and more permanently mount it. This works for now. It doesn't look very good, but it works. I wasn't sure if this is the way I was going to keep it, and since I have the new Hero 8, that's another thing that I had to consider. So now I'm now thinking about it. So we'll see what happens. This side is actually, this mount is locked very tightly with the JB Weld, so this is not coming off. Anyway, so the mic adapter's here. The mic input is here, and then I don't think, did I bring the? No, I didn't. It's over here. Okay, so to show you the microphone, let me see if that looks pretty good. Let me angle it so that you can, yeah, if you see the microphone right there, the little bulb looking thing inside the cheek pad, that's where the microphone's mounted. This particular microphone is a Rode Smartlav Plus, which I found has been the best, I don't know, the best value for what I use it for, I guess. It has the best quality. If you hear most of my recent videos, that's using the Smartlav Plus, and I'll put the links to the products in the video once I upload it. The other things I want to mention is, let me set this out of the way again. So I've tried other microphones in the past. Most recently, before the Rode mic, I tried the Purple Panda, and this works pretty well. But the quality of the recording wasn't as good as I expected it to be. It was pretty clear, but the depth just didn't sound very. It just sounded too, I don't know. It sounded too amateurish. I don't know how to explain it. I just didn't. The audio quality just didn't do it for me. I didn't like it that much. It's good for some other things, but for the high speed or in riding around recording, it's a good alternate, but not my primary. Now, this microphone is a Sony ECM CS3, and this has been kind of my go-to mic before the Rode. I have 3 of these. One is mounted in the other helmet, and I'm using one of these right now to record this video. I'm going to have a spare here that I haven't opened, just in case one breaks. This one in particular, I've been very pleased with. The only thing I didn't like was the form factor. It's a little harder to mount in the helmet. You can take off the clip and put some either dead cats or the windscreen on here, and it works very well. I do recommend buying some larger windscreens that help buffer or protect the microphone for windy situations. If my earlier videos, probably before, I would say before June 2018 or just after that, that's when this microphone was used, and then I switched to the Rode a little bit later after that. But this is a great option. There are reviews about this one already. Great, it's about 3,000 yen or about $35, something like that. Works great, no complaints at all. I just didn't like the form factor for regular use. This one in this helmet is very out of the way, and it sounds very good, I think. for both the wind noise and for getting my voice on the camera, even though my voice is terrible and I can't talk half the damn time. Anyway, that's pretty much about it for the helmet setup. I do recommend the things that I'm using now. I recommend the most until something new comes along. Yeah, that's how I do it, and I hope people appreciate the sound. I know that some videos are a little more windy than others, but I'm trying to get the realism of the engine and also my voice to be clear enough so you can hear me when I'm talking. Although the last video I just uploaded, it was a little too much realism, I guess, because you hear me breathing every time, so that wasn't cool. I didn't like that very much. So this microphone's a little sensitive, but I prefer the overall quality, and I'm okay with that. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I'll try to answer as many as I can. Just check out the links in the description below, and you can see what products I'm using right now. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little overview of the helmet and the audio and video setup. I'm going to continue using the Hero 7 for a while. Again, the Hero 8 and Hero 7 are pretty much the same for the most part. The only difference with the Hero 8 has the Hypersmooth 2.0, but for my intents and purposes, the 7 works fine. If you've noticed, the recent 7 videos have been much more smoother because that has the stabilization built into it. So we're recording at 2.7K right now. I've been playing around with the quality on YouTube, but I guess I think the 2.7 works really well for my purposes. I don't think I need to go to 4K, but I might try that. We'll see. I had some trouble editing 4K before, but now I've upgraded my displays and my equipment, so now it can handle 4K a little better now. Anyway, take care, guys. Thank you for watching. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Otherwise, please like, dislike, or leave a comment. Much appreciated. Look forward to seeing the next one. We got a few more videos here in the queue. Well, not this side, but we're working on a few more videos to get into the schedule. This one will go up first since it's a nice and quick and easy one to get up. And then we'll have a few more coming after that. Take care with the COVID-19 situation. Looks like Japan is, we're doing pretty well. We're hoping that the situation continues to stabilize and we can get back to normal. Looking forward to get some more riding in once the weather improves a little bit, and hopefully before the rainy season gets here. Take care, guys. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.